I want to welcome everybody to today's kind of a little pop-up webinar. We just planned it last week. I'm so excited to share Justin's knowledge with you on building a COVID dashboard for free with some free tools. He's going to break into it all. I'm going to send out this recording. So he's going to be breaking down some like how-tos, and you're going to be able to re-watch it as long as you're on my newsletter list. So most of you are, but just make sure that you are. Usually these types of webinars are only available to my membership group, but I know that it's been on a lot of people's minds and worries and everything, and I wanted to open this up to everybody. So welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Andrea. 6 kids, crazy. Only 4 of them are still in school now. 2 of them are out, but I run a company called Social School for EDU. We've done over 2 million posts for schools. We've been serving schools since 2014. And we actually do everyday management, my team and I, for over 95 schools. We're knocking on the door of 100. So we really deal with all of the, I wouldn't say we deal with COVID dashboards, but we definitely deal with the effects of that when we're sharing information on social media. The mission of Social School for EDU, we celebrate kids, we connect those stories to the community, and really about celebrating your school one story at a time. Of course, today it's going to be more about information, but that's kind of what we do. Just so you guys know, we have 3 ways that we really serve schools. We have a boot camp. We have an online membership group, which again, this usually goes out to that group. And then we do full management. If you're tweeting today and you're learning something, please make sure, tag me, tag Justin. Justin is at Justin Elbert PR. Also use the hashtag school PR. And again, when we email this out, if you know other people that need to get this information, you just got to get signed up for my newsletter and I will get that out to them. Okay. So just make sure you can spread this around to others that need it. A lot of blogs, information out there on my website. We've just shared a great story of what Jamie Brace is doing in Claremore, and she's got a team of people that kind of help her story tell. We just recently did 52 questions that'll increase engagement from on your Facebook page, which is great. I just want to share this because Jana is part of our membership group, and she's a little skeptical if anybody would answer this question. It got over 680 comments just asking what was the name of your kindergarten teacher. So just want to share that. And this blog actually has a free PDF that has a total of 52 questions. So you could do one every week of the year. Did just want to share, oh my gosh, 1,500 comments, Jana. That's awesome. We had over 1,000 on one of our pages too of who was your 5th grade teacher. So it's crazy. But it generates a lot of positive comments, right? Positive memories. I just saw this great one from Alexandria City Public Schools where they just simply did a shout out of give a shout out to any teacher or staffer who has helped you start off the school year right. I think this is awesome because it really builds those positive stories. And you guys, our teaching staff, all of our staff, because, you know, custodial crew, support staff, administration has been working so hard. This is such a simple way. And it's just using those colored backgrounds. You can schedule it out right in Business Suite is how I create these. And then they yield a lot of engagement, which helps all of your posts be seen by more people. So I know you didn't come to this webinar for that tip, but hopefully you use it. Okay. And then we've got some great podcast episodes. I do a weekly podcast, you guys. And yesterday, an awesome one from Janet Swiczkowski on professional development opportunities for school communicators. The week before, I shared like 7 steps to basically ask for money. And then it partners with this episode from Janet. So I just want to urge you, maybe when you can catch your breath, that you listen to that or you listen to it on your car ride. But I talk to great people every single week, and you can now actually get the show notes right on my website. So I've changed things up a little bit. If you go up to the podcast, you can go by episode, and it'll get you the podcast and all of the links there. For our members, which many of you are in our membership group. It's an online virtual Facebook group where we have trainings like this like every week. So I just wanted to share, and you're welcome to join anytime. But on the 15th of September, we're going to be talking about digital inclusion and making communications accessible. We're doing a skills training by Sylvie, who actually is part of our membership group. She's going to share Instagram stories that work. September 29th, it's a work session where we're going to be working through what are you doing to celebrate National Principal Month. October, Chelsea and Justin are back talking about crisis communication, and it's only a crisis if you're not ready. I'm excited about that. And then later in October, every month we do a social buzz where it's public school and a private school session just to talk about what's going on and what you're struggling with. So, and then we've got a boot camp coming up in October. We got less than 20 spots left. Just want to put a little plug out there. Members, you can save $100 when you sign up. Otherwise, it's $395, but that will fill up. It's a 5-week program that has some virtual components and some Zoom components. So it's a small cohort of people. It's amazing. We've got great testimonials like this one from Josh, where he just said, like, you know, it's helping me with a plan and I'm way more proactive, really getting best practices on engagement. So I just want to invite you into that, and you can get that information on my website. Now let's get to the main attraction, which is Justin Elbert. Justin Elbert is the Director of External Communications at Klein ISD in Texas. Very creative and very much a problem solver. You are going to see that. We were even trying to solve his creative background because he's not in his office today. This is a unique office, but he's awesome. He's highly sought after for a conference speaker. That's why I've been after him to speak with my community. He is a state national leader in the school PR field, and he was named to the NSPRA 35 under 35 list. And what year was that, Justin? Do you remember?
I think that was 2020, I think.
Oh, so yeah, like, are you still in the are you still under 35?
No, I guess it was 2019. And no, I was just out of the, I guess
Okay.
I'm 2 out of it now. So
okay.
I'm old now.
You're, yep, just like not as old as me. You'll never be as old as me, but that's a really prestigious recognition. And then in 2021, I was there when he was crowned the Most Valuable Member Award. And now I think we're going to, well, and then he's an awesome husband and dad as well.
That's the most important one.
Yes, it is. But this was very cool when he got to accept this award. It was in February of 2021. I now want to say it's not the most valuable member. It's just like the most valuable school PR guy, because you are graciously sharing your time and your talents with us today. So
you're too kind.
Without any further delay, I'm going to let you take over and share your screen and start teaching.
Okay. Well, before I do that, thank you. That was all way too kind. And if y'all don't know Andrea, she is like the biggest friend, supporter, cheerleader, helper, everything to school PR. So if you don't know her, get to know her, because she is absolutely amazing, and everything she puts is gold. So that is why I like to call you one of my friends. So
thank you.
You are amazing. Let me share this screen here. Okay. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay. I thought it'd be good just to kind of walk you through what it looks like, our dashboard looks like, how you get to it, why we've made choices that we've made on our dashboard. And then I'll talk a little bit about Google Data Studio and why we chose that platform. And then I'll show you the back end of the Data Studio and how all the data looks. And then I'll actually go in and how to build it. So Andrea, I can't see chat more because I kind of pushed it off to the side so I can manage my thing. But if you see a question that's timely, interrupt me and I will be happy to answer it while we go along.
That sounds awesome. And yeah, if I'm confused by something, I'll just kind of ask a question. So
please, I've been in this thing for 1.5 years now, so I may go over something and you want me to explain it more, and I can do that. And I'm not in my office. I'm in the athletic center right now, and outside this window is our football field. So if I get distracted, it's because there's kids outside playing football, and it looks more fun. They're just out there being kids. That's great to see. So here we go. So let me show you. This is the front of our kleinisd.net website, which it's Um, it's going through a refresh right now, so we're about to see a brand new site in a few weeks. But right now we have this one. We have our back to school health and safety plan on the front page. I think it's, I'll go back real fast. I think it's important that when y'all do build your COVID dashboard, that you make it very clear that this is how you get to the COVID dashboard. We had some feedback early on that we took the button off that said COVID dashboard, and you can see it on this second page. It says Client ISD COVID dashboard. We took that off the front page and we put it on our health and safety plan. We got a lot of feedback saying, where's your dashboard? They actually want to see the word that says dashboard, and they're used to seeing that from their counties and their states. So if you do make a COVID-19 dashboard and you invest the time in it, don't hide it, show it, because most of y'all are going to have numbers that show, and we'll talk about percentages in a minute and why we do percentages. But if you have good numbers, use them as justification of why you're still doing things. And then when your numbers or percentages don't show that, use them as justification of why you are pulling back on things. So that's what we're doing. So real fast on our health and safety plan, we're very transparent. So you'll see down here below, we have health and safety plan updates. We send it out to just our parents via email because, like Andrea says, information goes through email, celebrations and shout outs go through social. I can tell you that I was very skeptical of that first. I'm a very much like open, like everything goes on social and everything goes out. As I've progressed in this field, you are 100% right. If it's a public safety matter and it's urgent, I put it on social. Otherwise, if it's just like informational, I go just like Andrea says, and I go through email just because it's who are you getting the message to? Your people that matter. So that's what we do. So we also post them here just so they can see what we're telling our people. So here's our COVID dashboard. It's right here, and it'll load up. And this is going to look kind of complicated. It's pulling in all of its data and all these fields. And so on our COVID dashboard, you have a couple of different options. You have a option for the mobile version right there, the purple button, and we'll talk about that in a second. You have an option for the historical totals, and then this dashboard notification sign up. And then we've done everything in here based off of percentages. And the reason is because it's hard to explain to people, you have a school, we have some of our high schools with 4,500 people in it. So you have a high school of 4,500 people and you have 20 cases. Well, we can show you this right now. I can come in here to level and say, let's look at our high schools. So our high school right now, we have 17,000, at the very bottom right, you can see down there, it says 17,785. That's how many kids we have right now in high school. And we have 132 cases. And you can see on this percent positive right here, some of our schools are down to, some of our schools are 0.9% of our student population, 0.8, 0.5, 0.3. One of our schools, it's all online right now. That's why it's at 0. But you'll see that it's based off percentages. We did that because it's easier to tell the whole story. So we moved away from totals and went to percentages. You still have the totals, but we did that based upon our feedback saying, it's easier to think about a percentage of the whole population. And I can show you how to calculate those in a minute. You'll see we have a quick little informational session or section up here at the top left telling people what are these things. And I think this is important because you're telling people what the labels on your board mean. So we had a lot of questions about, well, oh my gosh, I saw yesterday you had 100 cases and now you have 80. Well, active cases are removed as people recover. That was from feedback. We also wanted to tell people that, if you're looking at new cases and total cases, that's all included together. So we've actually been able to update this as people bring us feedback. And then at the bottom, you'll see down here, it says updated every day at 6 p.m. because again, feedback, when is the dashboard updated? And we told people right on here. This is another feature we have. We have the ability to, let me just take away this filter right here. We have the ability to show all of our schools on a map, and it actually shows you the number of cases on the campus by a little plot map here so you can see how big each campus is. And that's helpful for people to go, oh, there's your hotspot in the area. You can tell that our schools that are down here on the south side have very low overall numbers. Well, our mask wearing population is down here. Our population that doesn't wear as many masks is up here. So you can see the difference, a little empirical evidence there. And we also have a button that says historical totals. This is very important because, and we're working, this is a small bug for weekends. So there's still bugs for our stuff too. But August 28th, 29th for weekends, so they shouldn't be 0 just because we're at the weekend. So we're working on that bug. But right here, you'll see that we have a trend coming up. and then to 550, and then we've come down. That's because this is when all those beginning of the school cases fell off, and then we start building up again for another round of cases. So that's been helpful to be able to show people that. I do want to show you the underlying data real quick of how this all works, and then we'll start. Yes, Andrea.
Yeah, good, quick question. Erica
Yeah.
asked, our numbers change so often for enrollment. Do you
Mm.
hold on your denominator or change it as your enrollment varies?
So right now we have been holding our enrollment static. And then because we're still waiting our 10-day totals to come in with all of our no-shows and our unenrollments, we're going to actually update this Wednesday. We'll be updating our numbers for the first time. So the 53,000 you see there is the all total enrollment and people who are all eligible to enroll and enrolled on the first day. But then we do those drop-offs who people don't know, no show. So we'll probably be down to 52, 51.5 here tomorrow in our official count, our official count, and that's going to make our percents go up. So we are anticipating our percents to jump a little bit because we're going to be losing about 1,000 kids just because they're no shows right now.
Okay, and then will you keep it at that then? Because that'll be considered like your count for the year?
We do weekly enrollment updates, and I'll show you in here. It's really great. If any of y'all using a LMS or like a school system like Skyward or Power School and those kind of things, we just have our registrar generated report. It's just a Excel file, and we copy the enrollment data and paste it over. And I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
I will tell you, it takes our data guy to update this because I deal with the public facing side of it. And then we have a data person who updates the data in the dashboard. And it takes them about 30 minutes a day to update data. And we have 50 schools. So I'll show you that. Do you have any more questions, or I'll show you the data?
That's no, show us the data, but that's awesome.
Okay.
Like 30 minutes for 50 schools. Like
it's not bad.
Yeah.
And here is why. So this is going to look very confusing at first, but then I promise I will go through it all. So over here, and Andrea, I promised I will share. I have made templates of all of this. So a template of this document, as well as a template of my, there it goes, a template of my data studio, and you can literally copy it and change the name out and just put your data in. So I have made all that available, and I will send that to you so you can send it to all your people. So
yeah, I'll send that out with the recording. Then everybody will have that too.
Perfect. So here, this is the underlying data that we use to populate our Google Data Studio. So you'll see we have all of our schools listed on the left-hand side. You have to do each school in a row. The columns are thought of in Google Data Studio as your area header, or your your header for your object you're putting on there. So you can put an object that says total active student cases, or a portal that says total active staff cases. Think about all the things you wanted to show people as being a column, and then the left-hand side for the rows being your individual entity. So like row 23 is all about Lynn Elementary, all the way across here, across all this data. So we have available and this is the part that our data guy updates right here. These 4 columns, that is what he updates every day. That's it. The only thing that updates is that right there. So we've built this out so you'll see that he goes in here and puts in total active student cases, total active staff cases, new student cases, and new staff cases. That's it. And then everything else is calculated automatically. So we have school status, all those I just showed you. The level here, where it says level, this will help us sort. So actually a parent could come in here and they could sort by level. And I'll show you how to add these sorted fields. We have areas that say latitude and longitude. And if you don't have this for your schools, we did a project a few years ago to get all the latitude and longitude for all of our schools. That has been so helpful because there are so many tools you can drop that into. Google has so many map making tools. If you're doing any route planning for your first week of school, traveling through the district, doing this once is great because you just copy and paste it over. So I do encourage you. It allows us to put that data on this map and actually put the dot on the school. So if you don't have your lat and longe data, you don't have to use it, but it does help. And then you'll see, yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember how you got that? Is that like a?
Yeah, I can show you that right now. That's thank you for telling me that. I'm just saying get it, and I didn't tell you how to get it. So if you just go to Google and just type in Klein High, your school right here, Right there is your school. But then up here in the, let me move this around. Up here in the URL bar, it says right there. Can you see that, Angela? It's kind of small,
Yes.
but it says 30.01 and then minus 95.52.
Yep.
That's your latitude and longitude for
Awesome.
Klein High School. So it's right there in Google. Yes, you have to go in there and grab it, but that's this right here, 30 and then minus 95. So we
Okay.
went through and then for every one of our schools grabbed the 30 and then minus 95. Your numbers will be way different because you're all across the US or world. So, but
Awesome.
that's how you pull the latitude and longitude of a object.
I already learned something. And then you guys will notice sometimes Justin calls me Angela
Oh, I'm
because
sorry. I'm sorry.
you
Sorry.
called me Angela yesterday too. It's
I
okay,
know.
Justin.
One of my best friends is named Angela, and I do it all the time.
And
Andrea, sorry.
no, it's okay because I have been called a lot worse. So
Well,
it's
and
all good.
you put Josh in the Facebook group,
Did
so
I?
we're even.
Yes, I think I did because yes,
Sorry,
Melissa
Andrea.
said something like, "Does Justin have a brother?" Or
So
so we are totally even.
we are even. Sorry.
It's a
Thanks for
sign of
calling me out.
genius. It's a sign of genius, actually. You know, when you
Na- names names aren't good with my brain. Okay. So we have added those two columns together in this field with a simple formula, which I'll share this sheet with you. And then you can see the total cases here. If you have a data person on your staff, or if you don't, these simple calculations, these formulas here, what it's doing is it's summing up. So equal is a formula, sum is what it's doing, it's adding C16 and D16. So it's going over here and it's looking at C16 adding to D16, so 8 plus 2 giving us a 10. So and again, it's really technical, and I have helped a couple of schools out with building up their dashboards. So I do off. I mean, that's something that I could do off time if you do need any assistance doing that. But I mean, just throw me a Starbucks card or whatever. But I have done that a couple of times. If you want to build your dashboard out and say check the data on it, I can do that. That's fine. The rest of this, I'm gonna scroll through it kind of fast so we can get going, Andrea. But I do want to get through here. These sections here just kind of show you, is this an elementary school? Is it an intermediate school? Is it a high school? Is it an ancillary program? This is how many students are in the different school. This part he does update. This is one we'll update on Wednesday. He'll update that. And then all of the rest of these are calculated based off of fields. So student percent positive, it just takes your student number of cases, divides it by your total number of students, and gives you the percentage. And I'll go through that in detail. I do want to show you how we built it, and then I'll go back and I'll be able to like show you all the little pieces. So this is Google Data Studio, the backend. So this is what it looks like when you jump into the backend, and everything you see here is tied to some type of data. So this sheet down here is tied to the, I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see it, the COVID public dashboard data. And that's tied to one of my tabs. And this map is tied to one of my data pieces, and this down here. So I wanna go and actually show that to you and how we would build a report. So let's just go to new report here. So you would go to Google search Google Data Studio online, and you're gonna be brought to a page that looks like this. And you can type in Google Data Studio, and then you'll just hit blank report, and it's going to present you with a blank report, just like this. And it's going to say, do you want to connect some data? And I did see somebody said that they already had the data in Google Sheets, and if you do, then it's very simple. If not, I'm going to share with Andrea this Google Sheet that you can copy and add. It's just going to make a template copy, and you can add all of your own data into here. And it's just all the whole sheet for you. So this is our sheet, and I'm going to copy it or connect it with Google Data right here through a Google spreadsheet. And it actually looks at all of your spreadsheets. So I have that right there. And I'm going to just add, there we go. First row is headers. That's important because you want it to know what it's looking for. So the first row is the headers. If you've ever dealt with data, the first row is always the headers. All right, so here's our Google Data Studio dashboard. And you can see right now, there's nothing really here. It just says, this is the school, this is the record count. It's basically saying there's one school named Burnshausen, and it looks really bad. So from here, we can start actually working on the dashboard. And you could decide if you wanted your dashboard to look just like ours, then you're gonna get a copy of it. You'll be able to connect your data instead of my data, and you're good to go. If you wanted to build your own dashboard, this is what I'm gonna show you. And it's also good to know how the back end works. But in here, it's actually showing you, I'm connected to all of your data, but what do you want to show me? So right now, our dimensions are school, and that's how it's separating it out. But what data do you want to actually be seen? Well, I want to see the total number of cases, total cases. That's all I care about. That's all my public wants to see is a total cases, and that's it. So there you go. There's your total number of cases, and you can see it's pulling. Remember, we tied it to this Google spreadsheet, so it's pulling the total number of cases, which is section K. It's called total cases. And you can see on here, it's called total cases. Remember, all we did was we connected the Google Data Studio to the spreadsheet, and now it's pulling all of those in. So if we wanted to show total percent positive, we could drag that in.
So you're just pushing the metric and then you're saying add metric.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're just, where it says add metric right here, you can actually add the metric by clicking it and then finding it. And I've found it's a lot easier just to drag and drop it. So if you just want to drag it from the right-hand side and then drop it over there,
Okay.
you can pull in the new number of staff cases, or, oh, I want to see the status of the school. Is the school open? Is it closed? And then in this little group here, you can actually order your pieces. So you can pull status first. Now you'll see that like some things don't look right if they're all squished up. Well, it's just like Excel. So let's say I wanted to make this come over here and I wanted to make this the whole way wide, or Google Doc or whatever. You can move things around, and then you can also hover over your little dividers and then move those around. So you can, let's say my status wants to get much smaller, my total cases needs to be smaller, and it actually lets us move things around. And then you'll probably look at it and go, well, the status all says 1, and the total percent positive aren't in percents. That's because Google Data Studio just wants to know what you want it to do. So under metric over here, it's saying status is a CTD or a count. Well, we're going to tell it it's not. It's just text. And we are going to put it under. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not working right now. Let's pull that one back out for now. For total cases is a percent or a thing. Total percent positive where it says number here. We're going to change it to percentage. And now it's a percent. So it just wants to know how to display things. That's all it wants to know. So if you hover over the left-hand side that says SUM or sum, you can tell it, yes, you can show it as a type percent or a number. So you can see there it's a number and there it's a percent. And then let's say like in our school district, they wanted us to sort by percentages. Well, if you scroll down more, you'll see it says it's sorting by total number of cases. Well, let's sort by percent. And now it sorts your school by percent. So it's, as you're building this out, it's really about dropping fields over to the left that you want to see and then telling it what it wants to show.
Okay, I got a couple questions, Justin. One you just
go ahead.
answered. So Katie asked, how do you change the order of the school names? And that's by sort. So if you wanted to alphabetize just the school names, you just go down to sort and you'd say by school.
Yes.
And
So
then
under sort, you would just choose school. And now it's sorting descending. And then if you wanted to sort it ascending, now it's sorting ascending.
Okay. And then Erica's wondering, did you ever consider adding quarantine students and staff to this?
Yes, we did. We considered it. Our district just chose not to do that. Just it's a lot of people. And right now, we're not showing that data. So that's, some districts are, some states are requiring it.
Okay, yeah. So depending on your state, and what I see with 50 schools, you have a lot of data that you're sharing already. So the more data
Mhm.
sometimes that you have, like the more questions people are going to have, I would think. And maybe that was
Exactly.
part of your decision, but
Mhm.
okay,
And
awesome.
it comes down to what your board wants to show, what your district wants to show in there. And I did want to, before I move on, I wanted to show this real fast. We're not adding a whole lot of pieces in here, but I did want to show you the styling. So under the styling, you can choose to not show the header or show the header, um, not show the row numbers or show the row numbers. You can choose to wrap the text or not wrap the text. You can change everything. You can change the background color of the header, the background color of the text, or the actual text color. You can change all of these things. So when you're coming in here, you can really customize this to show every other row a different color. We have it separated out like this kind of, so you can come in here and actually make this look right for your district. And then you can also choose how many to show. So are you going to show this is 100 rows per page? Well, it would show 100 rows and then it would go to the next page. Or are you going to show 10 per page and let people like arrow over to the next page? We have chosen on our dashboard to show all of our campuses. I put it at 100, and then people just scroll through it right here. They just come in here and just scroll through the cases. We've done it that way just so it's easier for them to come in here and just scroll. But just know that whatever the size is of your box, if it goes over, it will scroll the rest of that.
Okay, does this dashboard comply with ADA guidelines?
So we have had that question asked a few times, which we did make the Google spreadsheet available for the people that said that it wasn't ADA compliant, and we've been okay with that. It is translatable if your browser translates, so it does translate, and you can navigate the Google Data Studio via tab or keyboard. We have had some issues with it not reading certain data as you get into this chart right here. If you're using a screen reader, it will tab over and let you go from here to here to here, and it will read these bigger values. We've had some issues with it not reading all of the values in this map right here because they're hidden under a pop-up. And then the values in this bottom right-hand cases by level. For some reason, it won't pop into these, but it's been fine on this. It treats this as a comma separated value tab to over field. So as you tab, it'll go here to here to here to here to here, and it does work. So
Okay,
just it doesn't work so well in this part.
okay. How do you get the information about active and recovered cases? Is that by building, they're reporting those?
We do. So we've farmed that out to our nurses. So all of our nurses work on the Google. It's a Google form basically, and they just fill the Google form out every day. They pop in, and it asks them who is what's the child's name, and they fill it all out, and then it populates a Google spreadsheet. And then our lead nurses take that and decide which cases are reportable to TEA or our state agency, which ones are not reportable to TEA because they maybe have never been on campus. We had quite a few at the beginning of the school year, and they told us they had COVID, but they were never on campus. And our state requires you to post COVID numbers who were on campus, and they were never on campus, so we didn't post them. So we're taking a pretty black and white view of that. So if they never exposed a kid or never here, we don't show them. So that's how we're doing it, and that all goes to the nurses. So nurses get the first report from all the students and staff, and then that goes through a Google form, and then our nursing staff at the district looks at that, and they will actually input that into this sheet right here. So they actually come in and say, okay, we have 8 cases right now at Howdy, and then today at 4 o'clock or so, they'll pop in here and they'll come down this list and they'll say, okay, we lost 2 cases at Cron today, so they'll change this number to 9 from 11, and then that's all they do. And they go, okay, we had total active staff cases 1. We've had 4 active cases or 2 new cases today, 1 new case of staff, and that's pretty much all they do right here. They just go line by line and they fill that in for the day.
Okay. Erica's asking, we currently have a different tab for each day of data for us to maintain records of what we show. Does this
Ah,
process you are showing maintain historical data?
so right here, there is a historical data tab right here, and you can see it right here. He's come in, my guy Ben. He comes in every day, and you'll see right here. he actually does put this data in too. This field right here calculates off of these 4 fields, but he just comes in here and says, okay, this is how many positive elementary we have today. This is how many positive intermediate, positive high school, positive employee, and then total positives. And that is what is displayed on this historical totals page. Let me just edit this and show you. Oh, and I think I just solved our problem with our, okay, let me show you all how to fix this bug and then we can go from there. But this right here is hooked up to that tab that says historical totals. And it's showing these metrics, the total positive cases. And then if people want, they can turn on these optional metrics are pretty cool because let's say some of our families want to see how many COVID positives are in elementary. They can turn that on as a secondary field. So they can see what percentages of the total are high school, our staff, our elementary. Based on that, we hide the data under an optional tab, but our families are able to turn that on. And there's a section called, click on the tab sheet here, optional metrics, and you just drag in the optional metrics. And we had this bug that says 0 and 0, and I think that is right here. So there's all these different areas in here. You can show cumulative totals. You can show them as a line chart or a bar chart. You can change the color of the series. You can do cumulative total that shows how many cases over time are coming in. If you wanted to make a cumulative page, you can not show the data labels, show the data labels, all of that. One of them says, if you're missing data, what does it do? And we'll just change that to, we can do line breaks, or we can do a linear interpolation, or we can just do line to 0, and it will show that. So we'll work on that with our team and how we're going to actually show that. But it should, in the past, it's not shown zeros, but now it's showing zeros. So we'll figure that out. But that's your historical totals. Did that answer the
Okay.
question?
Yes. And Alicia's
Okay.
asking, can you touch on why a formula isn't being used to populate those top lines of the data sheet? Example, why did someone type in 8 under total active student cases versus using a formula to populate it? So you're pulling that number from a different report, right?
Correct. Yes, we are, and you're exactly right. So you could do that. What we have found when we did that was we did like a sheet lookup, a V lookup, and we had it all based in a form. But we found out that where was the weak link in the chain, and some people were interpreting that a case should show up on the dashboard, and our head nurse was interpreting it as it shouldn't show up on the dashboard. So we decided to move to the failure point to the head nurse because we were having some campus-based nurses put in that their campus had 10 cases. Well, if it was all formulaic, then it was showing up 10 cases here. And then our district nurse was saying, well, that's true, but one of those kids has been out for 12 days and only took the test this day. So this kid never actually had COVID while they were on campus. They were on a vacation and then they got COVID there, and then they've been out sick. So your campus should actually show 9 numbers. And having that data inaccuracy was causing us a lot of consternation with the families. So we moved it to where they have the separate form to report, and then our director of nursing then fills this in. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, she said got it. So
Okay.
that is really helpful.
That's why.
Okay. And Stephanie also said she can't figure out how not to show 0 for weekends. So when you figure that out, you can share that with the world.
It didn't used to do that. So now we're trying to figure, I think it's a bug with Data Studio where it used to go down and not show it, but now it does. So we'll get there.
And then Erica was just asking, what website platform do you use? Because were there any difficulties for this to show up on your website?
No, we just used, there's a couple of ways you can share these. When you get to actual share, you can embed the report. And so we have found that there's, it's just embed iframe was working just fine for us. And so we just embedded it that way. Oh, hold on. There was a reason why we didn't do that. Yes, so we used to embed the dashboard. Let me tell you why we don't do that anymore. Because we moved to a mobile dashboard. So we had a lot of feedback that came back from people saying, hey, your dashboard's great, but it doesn't work so well on mobile. So we moved to a mobile dashboard. So we actually just took the district dashboard that we had, this dashboard right here. And then let me go here. We went up here to File, Make a Copy, and we made the entire dashboard. And then instead of having a layout, and there's a layout on the right-hand side that says, it was like a very 16 by 9-ish looking layout, we made another dashboard, and I'll take you to that one, that was very much vertical. And so this is the way that it looks. Andrew, you can still see this, right?
Yep.
Did it get skinny?
Yep.
Okay, so we have made this phone dashboard that is very skinny and long because we had a lot of feedback from people saying, I just want to be look on my phone real quick and click in here and view my schools, and your wide dashboard doesn't work on my phone. So that's why we are no longer embedding the dashboards. We actually send people directly to it because we were having an issue with the embed code on mobile. So yes,
Okay.
Yeah, that was the answer to that. So
cool. All right, keep going.
Okay. So on all of these things, I wanted to pop in here and show you all of these little pieces and what they're connected to. So let me just go back to that one we're making. So if you wanted to make a section up top that had your logo on it and all of that stuff, then you would just come in here. You could drop in a shape, and you just like Canva or whatever, you would just drag in a shape. And if you want, there's all kinds of things you can do in here where you can have it snap to the layout. Under layout, you can have it snap to the grid. So it'll actually snap to that grid and make it nice and clean. That's how we've done it. You can choose, okay, I want this, our school color is like teal. So if you know the exact number for your school, let me just, your campus, let's just grab that. And let's add a custom color. So you can come in here, and if you have a branding guide, I mean, how many of us know our branding colors by heart? So you can just type in your branding color, and then you want to add some text on top of it. So you just drag in some text on top of it, just like Canva. Call it the Klein. Can't spell my school, but I know the color. We could call it the COVID dashboard. You can change the color. You could change the font, the size, all of that right in there. So it looks just like how you want to make it look. And I did find a little tip. If you're finding out that you can't get it exactly in the right spot and it's like clicking in, you can hold down Shift on your keyboard and arrow up and get it to like tiny little points to get it right where you want to put it. So you can put that dashboard in there. You could drag in an image. And then all these little, on ours, we have all of these little sections that say like a tiny number or district staff positivity rate, all these little areas. All that is just what I've shown you up here. And then you put a little box below it tied to something. So if you wanted to put in, let's say this entire box here, and you wanted to select it and move it down, and below it, you wanted a little box that said total number of staff positive. Well, you would just add a little data piece here. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, we would add in some text below it. And I want to show you on this page here what it looks like. So we've added a chart scorecard, and we've linked it to this data. So I misspoke. We're going to add a chart. And there's all kinds of charts in here. There's pie charts, there's maps. That map I showed you earlier, that's how you would do it here. And then there's one called scorecard, and you would just tape it right to the bottom of this, just like that. And it's going to come in and say, okay, well, what data do you want me to show? Well, I want you to show how many total cases there are. So you would get rid of the record count, and let's type in, or there we go, total cases. So now it's showing you your total cases. And then you could come in and style it and say, okay, I want it to show, I want this to be centered. I want this not to show the top piece. So let's say chart header, do not show, and then you could turn the rest of the stuff off as you come through. So you're coming through and turning these pieces off. Hide the metric name. I want this to be right in the middle, and then there you go. So that's how you would add that. And then you could style it and add a background color, or you could add there's a border shadow. There it is. And so then when you viewed it, you would have this record right here that says 412, and that record will be directly tied to that data. Okay. All right.
Stephanie's asking, can you drop in a Canva template and just have it fill in the numbers? But
Yeah.
I think, would that be something totally
You-
different though?
No, you could if you wanted to build your Canva template out on Canva. So yeah, you could easily do that. So over here on the right hand side, it says width and height and pixels. This is my template. This is my canvas right now. It's 1200 by 900. You could go into Canva, make a template that's 1200 by 900, do the whole thing and leave blanks for all your pieces. And then you could just take this little box right here that says 412 and remove the background, remove the drop shadow behind it, and just put it right over that piece. So you can put this anywhere you want, really, and it will just fill in that data right on top of it. And then one of the best pieces I think about Dashboard is that when it's talking about this data that says 412 here, you can set the, right here, you can set it to be automatic. So it's right here. There you go. Text size auto. It's kind of hidden, but under labels that says 28, you can turn this to automatic. I like automatic because if the number gets, you can make it actually bigger and actually gets bigger. But if you get to 412 right now and you put it in this spot, if you actually got to 1500, it would squish your text for you. So we have that on all of our sheets. You'll see the 53,000 down really far below. It says 53,000, but it's an automatic text number. So if it actually gets like this 412, if it gets to like 1500 or 1200 or whatever, it'll get a little smaller and fit in that box. The same way with these numbers, it'll always be as big as it needs to be to fit in the box.
Okay.
Right there.
Does it automatically update whenever you update the spreadsheet, or do you have to like hit publish or something?
Yeah, so the spreadsheet, it updates with the COVID dashboard every 15 minutes. So if you look under right here, all the data that's hooked up to it under this data source, if you look under the pencil, it gives you right here, it says data freshness. And it shows you right down here what all of these are. So it's saying I'm Data Studio, I see family of schools as text. I see this as text. It already figured out latitude and longitude for us. It knew that was that latitude and longitude. So you can come in here and tell it how to see all this data. But then at the very top, it says data freshness 15 minutes. If you wanted that data freshness to be every 12 hours, you could do that too. And every 12 hours, it's automatically going to go to the spreadsheet, pull the data, and then update your dashboard. We've set it every 15 minutes just because my guy sometimes gets in there at 4 o'clock. He sometimes gets there at 5 o'clock. And I want to make sure that's always the best data. So
okay, that is good. Somebody asked how many people are on your team. Now I'm going to just say, you guys do this. You got to create the dashboard once, and then it's that 30 minutes for that person to fill in the information, right?
Say that again.
So, I mean, you're building this dashboard, which is very complicated for someone like me, but you're building the dashboard basically once, and then you're feeding into it. I mean, you do
Correct.
have a bigger team. How many? You have 53,000 students.
Yeah.
How big is your communications team?
Well, we're a little non-traditional, so we're the team we're the superintendent staff team. So we staff the superintendent. We have community relations. We have Ed Foundation. We have communications, public relations, marketing, and video in one office. And we have 11 people.
Okay.
So, and we also do all the teaching and learning communication too. So about 4 of our people are dedicated to doing only teaching and learning. They work with that team only for all of their communications needs. So a lot of people, but I like to explain that we're really, really spread thin.
Yeah, well, you're covering so much. Christina's asking, please clarify for me, is your lead nurse giving you the total active student staff cases, new student staff cases, and recoveries, or are you subtracting recoveries from total active cases yourself?
So we have right here, she's actually giving all of this data. So she's coming in and saying, okay, this school has 3 active cases. You had 1 new active case today. You had 2 student cases, and you have new student cases, and that's it. That's what she's doing. So she's coming in here and just telling us those things. So we have student, staff, and she comes in every day and says, you have this many active and this many new.
So,
and we're not talking, yeah.
So you don't have to
The
do any
drop-offs.
math. They're doing drop-offs because they're going to count the
Correct.
active people. Okay.
Yeah, and that part, I will tell you, that part's hard to get people to understand because the drop-offs are 10 days for a lot of our states, or depending on their symptoms, when is the drop-off date or when they got their COVID test. So you have to have I mean, the nursing team is handling all that for us, and honestly, I haven't really been in that side of the game, so they just give us the data and we put it on the dashboard.
Okay. What is determining when a school closes for a client? Do you have a percentage?
Um, we do not. We look at, just like most of you, our standard answer is we are worried about the student, always the staff and the students, the safety of all the people on our campuses. We are reviewing the data every day, just as you can see it here. We're looking at, can we safely open the school with the number of staff we have available? And you'll see that some of these schools here, you can sort by staff percent positive. We have one school that has almost 7% of the staff out right now with COVID. So when you start getting to a point like that, you have to look, can we open the school safely? Can we get substitutes? And that's where we're at. We've seen that this number is not going to cause us, because the students being out is not going to help us not safely open the school. It's staff as the issue. So
Okay.
that's where we are right now. We're not publishing a number
Okay, got it.
just because there may not be a number, because 5% of an elementary campus may be different. You're not going to feel 5% on a high school campus. You are going to feel it on an elementary campus.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Sounds good. Jen just asked, is there a way to lock down certain fields of the dashboard so that the nurses can only update their school's info? The nurses aren't
Got
in
it.
that, the nurses aren't in that
Mm-mm.
main sheet, right?
No, there's no nurses. So first of all, the dashboard proper, like the actual one you're building. So if you come in here and start building out this data, this is just you. So if you come in here and drop in the status, the student percent positive, all these fields you're dropping in, this is just you. You're building it out, and it's only you. The the sheet here, if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to like lock a certain field, you can lock certain fields. So if you wanted your nurse at Benfer to have access to these 4 fields, you can lock those 4 fields to just them by doing I can't remember where it is. It's like somewhere under, I always can't remember where it is, but there's somewhere you can like lock a certain data protection. Protect sheets and ranges. There it is. So you highlight a certain area, and then you go to data, protect protected sheets and ranges. Yep, and there you go. So this is school break. So I've highlighted school breakdown CF to F2, and I could call this Ben for nurse, and I could set the permissions and then only allow that person. So I could add that person right in here that could do it, or I can show a warning that says, "Are you sure you want to edit that?" So you can do that. You can do it. We have found that we just give it to our lead nurse and she handles it, and we trust her.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can, if you wanted to block out all these areas and say nobody can touch this area at all, you could do that under data, protected sheets and ranges.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. There's a lot to go into that I know I don't have time for, Andrea. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But all of these areas here, if you wanted to add a map, so you would come in here to, it's all under add chart. So you would go into map, add chart. Let's add a bubble map. And so you would just drop in your bubble map. Let's put this over here. And then you would tie this to your data. It says invalid dimension. Well, we had to go to longitude and latitude. And then where the tooltip is going to be, the tooltip's going to be like, let's total cases. So you would just go in here and just set it all up. And it's going to come in here and it's going to figure out where those things are. And then under, I think I've not put the data in correct right now, but if you put it in correctly, it would actually show where it is. So you'd have to actually come in here and tell it which data to look at. So on our field, we have it tied to latitude and longitude coming into this area, and it's tied to that latitude and longitude that's part of our data sheet.
Okay.
And again, I'll share this with you, and if you want, you can just move data around on your version.
And then you'll share a template for both this one and the mobile version, because somebody asked what are the dimensions you use for the mobile version.
Got it. The mobile version, I think I made a template for that too. But let's see. The mobile version we used 610 by 1600. We chose 600 and so 610 or so because it looked good on a lot of the phones. So we chose that ratio, and then we just made it as long as we needed to make it so it would fit the data. And then I'm going to right now I'm grabbing the COVID dashboard right now. The links. Here you go. So I can do that right now. Andrew, do you mind if I put it in the
That's
chat?
great. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So here is our mobile dashboard. There is our desktop dashboard, and there is our underlying data sheet. And all of those will let you make a copy. When you go to the dashboard, you can just go to the top and hover over the banner when you're actually viewing it. If you hover over the very top, a little drop down will pop down, and you can just say a little triple dots and just say make a copy, and that'll be your copy that you need.
Okay. Awesome.
And then move around. I can do and look at your fields if you need me to, or go through anything. But basically, what you're doing is you're tying little pieces to the data you already have. So that's the gist of Data Studio.
Hang on, everybody. I don't know why.
I shared it to everyone. I thought I shared it to everyone.
It defaults to
hold
host.
on.
I got you covered.
I got it.
Oh.
You got it?
Yes, I got them all. So sorry about that. And thank you so much, Mallory, for asking.
Sorry.
Because I don't know why.
I shared it only to Andrea.
Yeah, like, everybody needs it. So there it is, everybody. But we will also put it in the email so that you have it there as well. But there it is if you guys want to get started right now.
And there's our dashboard, and then there is, let me grab the.
Well, everybody's probably popping on. Is that why there's 17 people on it right now up there?
Yeah, there they are.
Awesome.
So I think now, did I share it all with everybody now? Let's see. Yes. I think you shared the data sheet, and then I shared the mobile and the desktop. So yes. So somebody asked, are they connected to the same place? Yes, Nicole. Both dashboards are connected to the exact same data sheet. So we update the one data sheet and both dashboards update. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's, I mean, I know I could go for a few more hours, but that's what I've got. And
yeah,
I think that's it.
And by the way, Justin was dealing with a crisis situation at one of his campuses today, which again is why he's going to be talking about crisis communication in October. This may be a dumb question, but is there a way to copy then edit the dashboard that you shared? Yes, Stephanie. So when you hit copy,
not a dumb question.
Not a dumb question at all, but you'll be able to hit those three dots and copy it. And then you can link it. You can link it to yours, or you can just go into the spreadsheet that he shared and go from there. Cassie asked, so you aren't keeping running totals, only currently active?
Nope, because we determined that showing, me telling you that 3,000 kids over the past 18 months have had COVID is not so helpful, because 2,900 of them are no longer COVID positive. So it wasn't really helping anybody. So we took it off.
Yeah, and then you don't do close contacts or new exposures.
No, you have to hover over the top area. So you put your mouse at the very top of the dashboard and it will pop down. So you kind of hover over the top and then it kind of pops down.
You got it, Stephanie, hopefully that works. All these magic,
just kind of
all these magic little tricks. She said she can't, but hopefully she'll figure that out. Okay, cool. Well, this is super helpful. Justin, thank you so much for sharing with everybody. Everybody will get a copy. I can guarantee that Data Studio has YouTube videos and how-tos if you need some help. But the advice that you shared with how you're doing it in your district really helps, because there's so many numbers you can report. And so again, Justin's giving just his perspective, but there's reasonings behind all of it. And I love that, a lot of your communication on there is like, we put this on there because we were getting questions about this or that. So very helpful. Lots of thank yous, Justin. So thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I am missing an important meeting. I think
Okay.
it's going on right now. So email. I was going to tell you if you get any emails saying thank you, send it to me so I can screenshot and show my superintendent.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll send all of this and we'll send this
No.
recording to you so you can share it out too. Okay.
Okay. Hey, and if any of y'all reach out to me on Twitter, and I'd be happy to look at any data studios that y'all build to help you connect to the right data. It's pretty easy to pop in those things real quick and just help you troubleshoot. I've done it with a few districts, so happy to do it for y'all.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Justin. Bye-bye. And thank you guys, everyone,
Thank you.
for joining us today. If you want to be included on all of these trainings that we do, check out the membership program. We'd love to have you there. So talk to you soon and good luck with the start of this school year. Bye-bye.